Hi, everyone. It's Linda again. I told you I'd be back. But something ain't right. Undiagnosed, but something ain't right. It's one of my favorite shirts. So listen, if you hear all that rumbling in the back, some horn honking and stuff, those guys are working out there. I can't believe I'll be sitting listening to this for a year. That's amazing. And I really need my trees trimmed in the front because we're in fire season. And my guy's coming tomorrow to see if they just might cut it down and take the tree branches with them and shave them down elsewhere because you really can't park on the street. So anyway, of course I gotta go out and say good morning to the menses and everything, see if they need something. But I'm sure they wonder why I wear high heels in the morning. But anyway, and I'm just joking, of course. Um, we had some more questions. I I want to tell you that I'm not going to watch the thing tonight with what's his name. I'm sure it'll be on Fox News. No one else would pick it up. None of the major people would pick it up. But I just get a feeling it's much ado about nothing going nowhere. A nothing burger. Um, what was I going to tell you now? I wanted to tell you about Tillis and who else? Republicans. One was saying, I think it was Tillis, that, I don't know about putting Blanche in, and not unless he meets with the women, the ones who were abused by Epstein. And he wasn't going to meet with them, and now he's going to meet with them at 4:30. So we'll see about that. And then someone else, I might have been Tillis again, said, and I'm still really on the fence about him putting it in writing that they're not going to try to do that chunk of money, that little chunk of money that they were planning on giving the January 6th people. So I don't know why. I really hope that he doesn't get in there, Blanche. But if he does get in there, I'm going to tell you, lickety split. I'm feeling like in and out. I feel like will definitely get his license revoked. And I feel like a whole bunch of stuff is coming out. And also, this is entertainment purposes only. I just read this and I haven't had time to look it up. Hold on, let me look it up before I open my big mouth. Okay, um, Paxton, I heard that he has 15 homes, and I just double checked it. They said not 15, 11, but 11's pretty good. He has five in Texas, three in Florida, two in Utah, and one in Oklahoma. Okay, so he got a lot of houses. I just don't feel him winning. I just don't, but we'll see. But I just don't feel him winning at all. And Becerra, Javier in California is like 30, 40% above the Republican, excuse me, the Republican that's running. Yay. I don't know why I got the hiccups all of a sudden. Okay. Oh, okay. Um, Cindy McCain, John McCain's wife, just announced she's endorsing Democrat Katie Hobbs. Yeah, well, of course she is. She wants people who are sane. Um, okay. And Nath apparently pulled cards on Graham and said a lot of secrets are going to come out. Oh boy, are they? There's no NDA, non-disclosure agreement with these workers that knew him, and they actually liked him. They said he was fun, but they, they revealed some stuff that's hard to look at. It's like you don't even want, what is that saying? Thanks for the visual. You don't even want to go there. So, he was a player back in the day, but would talk trash about other people, but you just couldn't look in his own backyard. Okay. Again, I'm going to emphasize I do not feel Putin. I don't think Putin liked Lindsay, but I don't feel Putin is the reason that Lindsay is gone. Lindsay had heart disease. Okay. Um, um, Everybody's on about this guy, Blanche. He really shouldn't go in there. If he goes in, it's by a hair's breadth. He's on the fence, and I don't care if he goes in or doesn't go in. His days are numbered, not physically, professionally. Um, oh, this is an interesting one. Will Scott Jennings lose his job at CNN for lying about talking to Mitch? I told you what I feel they're going to do with Mitch. I feel after the August 3rd date comes, they're going to say, oh, he was getting better and then he just had a heart attack. I see it on the news. Mitch McConnell confirmed dead. Okay. Will Scott Jennings lose his job? He's going to claim he talked to him and maybe there was somebody else that acted like they were Mitch. He's going to claim that he talked to him. I think he knows he was lying, but somebody else talked to him as if they were Mitch. They got somebody that sounds like Mitch. That's what I'm getting, okay? So I don't see him losing his job because they can't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he just made it up, which he did, but you know what I'm saying. So will he lose his job? He's upside down. Listen, let me tell you, Fox News is going downhill. Woo! Fox News is going downhill because Trump is just losing it. He's losing his popularity. Everybody hates him. It's a beautiful thing, I'm going to tell you right now. Um, and God bless Canada. I looked at a map of Canada. There are so many fires going on from Ontario and Ontario coming into the United States. It's terrible. Prayers for prayers for them. Prayers for Colorado. And I told you, Dennis and Julie were talking about a monsoon hitting Arizona. I haven't heard any news on that because on the Weather Channel, all they're talking about is Texas because Texas is going through hell. Terrible stuff going on. You know what? It whirled around. I think there's more of a chance of a Democrat taking Lindsey Graham's place. Yeah, he was going to run. He was going to run again. I don't know why I can see him. So, okay, so what can you tell me? Yeah, I don't know why I see a Democrat. I could be wrong. I haven't looked to see. Hold on one second. They're trying to get a Republican in there now. Hold on. Who is running for state senator in South Carolina? Annie Andrews. That sounds familiar, like she's might be the one that wins. She's a pediatrician. And Darlene Graham, if she runs, she won't win. Um, Nancy Mace, no, if she runs, she won't win. Not Pamela Evitt, Ralph Norman, and Russell Fry. I don't feel any of these people will win. I think it's that Annie Andrews, and apparently her numbers have gone up big time. Now, I don't know if Darlene is going to necessarily, she works for the blind. She might have more of a heart on her. I don't know if she's just blank check filling in things because Trump wants her to. She might actually vote against something. They'll be very surprised because she has her own mind. That's what I'm getting. I could be wrong. I don't think she'll vote yes on everything for Trump, even though her brother would have. There's some things I see her in a disagreement about. Okay, let's go to um oh, I want to tell you guys, remember I lost those my kind of pinkish earphones, Air Pros. They were almost $600. I left them in the back seat of the rental car when we got there, like at 4 o'clock in the morning at Harrisburg Airport with Mel. I filled out the lost and found for a long time. Where's my device? Showed it at the Harrisburg Airport. It was in there in that car. And do you know it moved to an apartment complex? So someone stole those earphones. Someone from Hertz stole those earphones. And I could fill out a police report and stuff like that. I still have to decide because it was enough money that, it would be considered, but what are you going to do? And apparently, they recommend that I don't delete it totally from my Apple because then they can take over it. But as long as it's on my Apple, even though they can listen to music and stuff, they can't own it, so to speak. So I don't know. I don't know. I think I owned those earphones maybe 3 or 4 years. I bought a new pair, but they didn't have the pink. I had to get the lavender. So anybody work for Hertz? Okay, so no, I told you guys about McCain on the other side. He told me he knows that Lindsay's there, but they haven't conversed. Um, McCain is doing really well spiritually. He's very proud of his wife. Um, he's not as heartbroken because he's not in human form anymore. So he felt bad about how flippy, how what a fish um, Graham was. He loved McCain and then he turned on him. He loved Joe Biden and then he turned on him. Mark my words, Joe Biden will be dead by the end of the year. Who says stuff like that? And you guys have all had a friend like that, somebody that just turns on you and you can't even figure out who are they. But he's got his own demons to deal with. It's not for us to judge Graham either. But McCain is not the least bit concerned. He will forgive him, of course, but it'll be up to Graham to come to him and say, do you forgive me? Um, so what McCain said was that he knew that he was there. He had not seen him. There's a bunch of relatives that came to assist Graham, but it's almost like the heartbreak because now he's having to look at who he is. Oh, I saw a lot of sleeping. I know literally not sleeping, but they go into like a coma state over there. People who have had hard deaths or died suddenly because they're like, they can hardly believe what's going on. I think I told you years ago, I saw a person who had died and said that they were in this hospital wing, and it was a long wing with beds, back side by side. And you would doze off and you would wake up, and there would be people around you and angelic forms, etc. But as you began to wake up, you would notice the wall in front of you would start to dissipate. And then you could see, rolling hills, flowers, and stuff. And then that made you curious. Gee, what's over there? So he has energy forms that are with him. Some of them are negative, and he can't hear it right now. He just can't hear it. But he's eventually going to have to come to the test. Mike Johnson is going down burning in the you know what. He is not going to be taken. And let me tell you, Congress is not happy with him. No joke, they were not happy with him before, but they're not marching the tune for him. He will not go. Okay. Today, Republicans have said that McConnell had been moved to a rehab and they posted a photo of his wife. I thought she is in China. Are they pulling a cover up? Yeah, that whole photo is AI. It's not real. They were able to go deep dive into it. Even the newspaper by his side is that photo was taken in 2014. Isn't that funny how people can be, lied to like that and believe it? Okay. I'm sure it wasn't poison. Oh, no, I don't see Kushner. I know you guys all think that Graham was taken out, but he wasn't. I don't feel it. You guys can believe what you want to believe. But Kushner, did you guys see on the news him and that guy? Iran wants part of the $8 billion they made off of shorting the gas and oil. When they were doing that alleged work for a peace agreement, they were manipulating the oil and gas dividends or whatever, and they made $8 billion, and Iran says we want some of that money. Boy, oh boy. But that sounds like them. They're just it's just like when uh not Don Jr., Eric Trump called somebody for some game that was going to happen and asked, well, who's going to win because he needed the input so he could bet. I guess they just think they're entitled. Yeah. Okay. Does Lindsey Graham know the truth about Mitch? And I feel he does. I think he knew Mitch was gone, literally gone, but he's on life support or something. They're doing something to keep him undercover. And like I said, they're just going to say, oh my, he was he died of a heart attack or a stroke. It was just sudden. And then he'll be cremated. Watch. No, I don't see Nikki Haley replacing Lindsay. I don't know if she's talking it, but I see this Dr. Annie Andrews winning. Yeah, Kimberly says. Kimberly says, I doubt Lindsay and John McCain are in the same place. Oh, definitely, girlfriend. I want to tell everybody that Mel made it through his scope. He had to have hold on, let me tell you what he told me. Where are you, Mel? Here he is. Had a stent in the subclavian artery. Ooh, that's up there. My coronary arteries are in heart are fine. So he's doing good. I told him rest, just rest. And I also heard from his husband, which was really sweet. So he did good and he's resting. And listen, I had the same scope. They went through my femoral artery and I was in San Francisco. They thought I'd had a heart attack, but what happened is the enzymes for a heart attack drop suddenly. That'll happen is if you're pregnant and they're high up and they drop, it's because you're getting ready to spontaneously abort. Well, that meant I didn't have a heart attack because when they looked, I had no heart damage. But they treated me as if I was going to have a heart attack. So they went up in that femoral and they got, I think, a 70% occluded. And he said, well, I'm here. Do you want me to go ahead and put the stent or, and I was walking up by the Lucas farm up there at George Lucas Valley, my son and I and my dog Moochie at the time. And I was having pressure, but we kept going because I wanted to see the vista from the top of the hill. Then I finally told my son, I think I better turn around and go back. I'm having a lot of pain. So when we're descending, I still felt the pressure. And I thought, uh-oh, and then my jaw started to hurt a little bit and my back. And I thought, uh-oh, I'm probably getting ready to have a heart attack or I'm in the midst of a heart attack. And so I drove my son and that dog back to our house, probably a good 20 minutes. What was I doing driving? We get in the house, and by the time we got in the house, I was real nauseous. I was feeling bad, and I called 911. And that's when all the I mean, there was about three or four gorgeous going come into my house. And they shot me with some um, you know, what it's not lidocaine. What is it? They shot it under my tongue. And I haven't had chest pain since that shot under my tongue back in 2008. Um, uh, they took me to San Francisco to the hospital and they went up. But what happened was, they're supposed to do a lot of pressure and check every 15 minutes, and they weren't following orders. Needless to say, I started to bleed. I didn't know I was bleeding, and I started going into shock. And that's a weird feeling. You feel like this absolute anxiousness. I started to vomit. I was saying, something's wrong, something's wrong. And they came in, they realized I had been bleeding, and they bolused me with fluids and they put more pressure on. But I remember the charge nurse there saying, you're a nurse, and I can't believe how much you threw a fit, took off, upset about this. If I hadn't been so sick, you guys, I'd have told that bitch off in a New York minute. Also, I vomited all over my sheets. They never changed the sheets. So believe me, they got a write up when I got out of there because, I was going in shock. I was scared to death. And yeah, I'm a nurse, but nurses have the ability to be afraid. So don't mess with me, honey. But anyway, long story short, there was no heart damage. They said your numbers dropped post date. They just fell. Because if they'd kept going up, then I had a heart attack. But because they fell, I hadn't had I was having heart stress, but not a heart attack. I was on the precipice of having a heart attack, but I didn't. So, yeah, I told him to go ahead and put the stent in. And he says, Linda, you'll be running up that Lucas Hill. I think they were just proud of me, you know, a Chevette coming in there. They were just proud of me of exercising like that. That was my son that made me go with him. And of course, we had lunch before we left, and you shouldn't climb like that and do all that work post lunch. You should not eat till later. I can't believe I could have passed out at the wheel if you think about it. Okay, enough about me. What do you think of me? So, okay, so let's go here. Paxton's in trouble. Paxton's not going to win. I think I've already told this to you guys. Uh, I am says, are those legit construction people at Mitch's house or FBI, CIA in disguise clearing things out? Um, no, they're legit. And I do feel that they want to sell the place. This is the wife. She's back, by the way, from China. She needs to sell this house. I don't even think she wants to live in it anymore. I think he might have taken a tumble, maybe cracked his head or something, but it doesn't. I think Mitch McConnell would have not had anything in his house. I think everything was in his office and his staff knew what to do. Lindsey Graham, not so much. I feel like they wanted to get rid of any grinder information or photos or anything. They loved him, but they didn't trust him. Okay. James Tallarico. James Tallarico. Let me look real quick. Jesus, you guys, we're already almost at the end of July. We'll be in August before you know it. And somebody wrote me and told me I've been telling people November 2nd. No, voting is November 3rd. Thank you for writing me and telling me that. He said, girl, we got to keep our numbers together. You know what I'm saying? James Tellerico. Oh, and this, let's take a look at this hedgehog too with this masculine thing. I'll take a look. Tell me. And they said he's not a man. Tellerico's not a man. No, he's a man. Tellerico. He's working hard. He's got the sun in his environment, power in his hopes, dreams, and wishes. And the Ten of Swords reverse is the outcome, which means success. Raking in your just rewards. I've said this before about him, and I know other people might feel different, but that's why we do these shows so we can all have our own perspectives. I think he's probably going to win. Let's look at Hedgehog wanting people to take that, what is it called? Testosterone. 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 Oh, I just got a vision. I'll tell you guys as soon as I get done with this testosterone thing. What is that going to do? Negative, cut out. Somebody's going to file a complaint or they're going to say you can't be giving men. Yeah, no. He thinks he's going to do it, but he's not going to be successful. They got no right to be doing that. Somebody starts getting a bad reaction, they can sue them. They're so stupid. Okay, so I was going to read on something else and I just went blank. Sorry about that, you guys. I just test run. Oh, I wanted to tell you that I'm getting hits and I've had a couple of dreams. And I keep getting dreams. I know this one dream I was having. I was in a house with, I always dream about Rachel Maddow, and we were discussing deets about what Intel is doing. And I remember thinking, yeah, I got to keep this hush hush. But I keep feeling that Intel behind closed doors, top-notch people, maybe even people who aren't working in the government anymore, are all gathered together to come up with a game plan how to get rid of Trump. And not by taking him out. Because, see, the thing is, you don't want any kind of Harry Carey or anything like Iran wants to take him out. But the thing is, if they do that, and Iran, if you're listening, it'll make him more of a hero. Do you know what I'm saying? And then everybody, like the 9/11, everybody's anti-Muslim, everybody's this, everybody's that. Let him bury himself because he's about ready to do that. Okay, so, but I could see them. There's so much intel coming out. There's a lot more about the Epstein stuff, pieces. It's like they're almost like behind closed doors. These people are, this might even be angelic forms, are throwing out pieces of things that are destroying him bit by bit. And this testimony he's going to give tonight is going to really, he's a joke. He's a joke. And did you see the wife of the fireman that was killed at Butler's? What did we tell you? We said that Butler's thing was planned. That was a setup because he was losing and he needed something because he stood up and fight. Yeah, F you. So anyway, that was planned. That's why it's never discussed. That's why there was never any medical records. That explains the miracle ear growing back. And remember, everybody wore the little tampon on their ear. What a ridiculous amount of bourgeois. This is unbelievable. But she came out and said she just heard from the Trump administration after a year of her husband being gone, she said, there's something very wrong with this story. There's something very wrong. I don't think it happened like they claim. And it didn't. And the same thing with Charlie Kirk. They're going to be able, and that judge isn't messing because he said, you don't have the gun and then you're losing videos. Hello. And why did people come up and clear the blood and everything? It was a setup. It was a setup probably by his wife in Israel. So, but entertainment purposes only. So I feel good about James Tallarico, and I think the more they pick on him, actually it's going to work against him. Uh, let's see what you guys have to say. You guys are so cool. I got nearly 500 questions. Yeah, Kushner's going down. If you want me to read on them, I will. Kushner knows he's in trouble. He should have got taken down with the last administration. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what's going on, Kushner. Tell me what's Yeah, him and that guy got no business running, telling America how we're going to come to an agreement with Iran. You're messing with the sleeping giant. Jesus Christ. And then you work behind closed doors and you manage to get $8 billion in kickbacks because you manipulated the market with his father-in-law. In probably February of next year, there's going to be a lot of information coming out about Kushner, but he's going to get sick or something major is going to happen. This is beyond fraud. This is, he could have a little bit of a stroke or something. I'm telling you, he wears his wife's underwear. I can see it. It's clear as day, and I've been seeing it for years. Everybody's saying, thanks for the visual, Linda. Um, oh yeah, they're flying that White House flag half-mast for Lindsay. He wouldn't do it for McCain because McCain told him, you're no good. Yeah, I know they said he could have been poisoned, but I see the tear in his artery. I'm telling you, the guy died of natural causes. Okay, so now I could be wrong. You can believe what you want to believe, but oh, his neighbor. Okay, someone said McConnell has apparently been in the freezer at a local mortuary for almost a month now. His neighbors were forced to sign NDAs. Death comes in threes. I'm telling you, they're going. I saw it. I saw the television say we have an breaking news story that McConnell is dead, and his family says he died, suddenly. That he had a heart. He was recovering and he died suddenly. That's what they're going to say. Okay. The Tennessee governor race. Hold on, let's look at that real quick. Okay. Who is running for governor in Tennessee? Let's check it out. Bill Lee is term limited and cannot run again. The Republican nominee is widely expected to have the advantage. Marsha Blackburn, John Rose, Monty Fritz. So I think isn't Marsha Blackburn running? Republican primary is August 6th. No, they haven't had the primary. Gee, I hope Marsha Blackburn doesn't even get on the primary. So let's see. Will the new governor of Tennessee be blue? I heard no. Will the new governor of Tennessee be Marsha Blackburn? Oh, I heard no again. Thank you. Oh, those cards went out. Oh, they trying to answer something. Hope there's no ghostesses in the room. In an hour, I got to do my I got my prayers, by the way, you guys. I'll try to do them tomorrow. I'll post when I need to do them, probably later in the day. Nancy's not going to win for sure. Nancy got bad cards. Big judgment on who wins. Um, will a Democrat win as governor of Tennessee? The Republican cards weren't all that great. Will a Democrat win? Yes or no? As we get closer after the primary, I'll throw again. No, unfortunately. But that's okay. As long as Nancy Mace doesn't win. Jesus. Okay. So, all right, you guys, I told you Mel is fine. We'll send him love and prayers. Um, what else? Is there something else I need to tell you guys? Hold on, let's look at the Kentucky Dem governor threatens to replace Mitch McConnell, and Bashir is trying his damnedest to get in there, but they are fighting him every step of the way. He may go ahead and name someone, but they're going to fight him every step of the way. Oh, Jesus. Trump is planning to illegally impose up to a 37% tariff on Brazil. We're going to mess with our coffee beans, you guys. Ooh, just food for thought. The Washington Journal is reporting that China is already talking to and working with the Kremlin insiders that they expect to take over Russia once Putin is dead. China does not expect Putin to hold on to power much longer. Breaking. This is an unearthed video. Senator Adam Schiff repeatedly demanded Todd Blanche to answer for during today's hearings. Blanche literally admits he fired DOJ attorney who prosecuted Trump by his own client, staggering an obvious breach of ethics. Okay. Also, God bless Texas for those terrible storms they're going through. Heck. And did you see the big billboards in Iran where Trump is in a coffin? They got pictures of coffins with Trump and Melania and Ivanka. Oh, God, it's just really bad. So, okay, you guys, I love you all. And my members, I'll see you at 3 o'clock. Cheers. Bye.